So big fights this weekend. We had not only the fight between Oshaki Foster, he goes out there and beats Ray Ford. Right after the fight, calls out Shakur Stevenson. They got a whole brouhaha right in the middle of the ring. Yo, Jay Z also the Roots Picnic stepped on the stage, and you know what, man? Jay Z's making headlines once again. Calling some people out, man, Drake included. So it's interesting because two completely different worlds, boxing and hip hop, but it's interesting how these stories actually kind of come together. Uh, and the biggest thing, the overarching thing I'm realizing is, yo, have people forgot how to be fans? All right. Yo, I hope you guys are doing well. This is episode 2 of Fights and Culture with Serg. I'm your host, Serg. Today we're going to go obviously talk about Oshaki Foster going out there and defeating Ray Ford. We're also going to go ahead and obviously, Shaki Foster's call out to Shakur Stevenson. We're also going to go ahead and talk about Jay Z's amazing performance at the Roots Picnic. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about stand culture. All right. Stand culture is a big thing that we're going to go ahead and discuss today because it's interesting after the fact, just seeing how the social media world blew up this weekend on both topics, which is really, really interesting. We're also going to talk about the ego. All right. Yeah, I know. Kind of interesting. We're going to talk about ego. We're going to talk about community and why fandom seems more divided than it ever has. All right, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Hope you guys are doing amazing today. Oshaki Foster goes out there and beats Raymond Ford. Like I said before, this was going to be the absolute best fight of the weekend, and it proved to be so. Razor close decision. Both guys went out there, and honestly, what ended up happening was Oshaki Foster just outlasted Raymond Ford. If you were paying attention to the fight, Raymond Ford looked like he was winning the beginning, early rounds, middle rounds, even. And then he ended up gassing out. And the more he gassed out, one thing that I really appreciated and I saw from Oshaki Foster was distance management, his control, as well as, being able to his fight IQ is a really, really high fight IQ. Uh, and he's a little mean. I don't know if you guys seen the clip. We'll probably add it in here in a minute. But he went out there and just chucked Ray Ford like the first round out of the ring. One of the wildest sights you'll ever see in a boxing ring, but that absolutely happened. All in all, man, he showed championship composure in that fight, and that's something that I'll be honest with you. I was somebody that I didn't have a lot of stock in Oshaki Foster because when I look at him, I'm seeing a guy who's really good at everything, but not great at anything. Right? He doesn't have a lot of power. He's not very slick. He doesn't really have the greatest hand speed. But what he does is really put everything together extremely well. He's one of those guys that he's honestly at best way I could put he's a B+ fighter. He's not an A+ fighter. He's not a top 10 pound for pound type of guy, but he's fantastic at what he does, and we really really got to show love in there. But the biggest thing that happened in the fight was immediately after the fight, he goes out there. He points out to Shakur Stevenson, in my opinion, the number 1 pound for pound, no less than number 3 pound for pound boxer in the world, and he calls him out. Obviously, Ray Ford was somebody that's in Shakur Stevenson's camp and team, so he calls him out, says, I'm gonna go ahead and I beat your son, I'm gonna beat daddy, right? A little weird, but whatever. He went out there and said that, and it was really interesting because this is one thing I really appreciated of it, and this is something that I think that a lot of more people have to do in combat sports. He has ambition. He showed exactly what he wanted. He's been calling out the guys, and he wants to get some of these incredible, incredible matchups. And this is something that we always want. I'm tired of seeing guys come up after the fight. They're like, "What do you want next?" And they're saying, well, let me talk to my team. Let me do that." That's not what fans want. We want to see the immediate call out, and he did that. So, really salute to him. He shows confidence because let's be very honest with you. If he goes out there and fights Shakur Stevenson, hey, look, Shakur gonna whoop that ass. All right, straight BTA, belt to ass. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it in my mind. I mean, he's nowhere near. I mean, we're talking about Shakur Stevenson, who fights at 140 pounds now. You saw him standing in the ring next to each other. It obviously looked like two different weight classes. One guy fights at 140, one guy fights at 130. They said they meet at 135. But I appreciate the confidence that he goes out there and shows, man. And again, champions challenge themselves. He believes he's the best in the world. So I really, really appreciate that. He did not hesitate. And truly, that's really I love about him. But what was really fascinating in my mind after watching that, because as a fan of, you know, combat sports and boxing specifically, I was excited. I'm like, that's a good fight. You know, is it the fight that I want next? We have obviously Shakur can fight Muratala, who actually just, you know, signed with Conceição. But you know, it was interesting seeing how quickly social media took sides. Shakur Stevenson is one of the, which is wild to me, one of the most hated guys on social media for some reason. It doesn't matter what he does, people are going to disparage him. Devin Haney is one of those other guys. But you saw this is thing. So the reaction online wasn't, which I was expecting, was wow, that was a great fight, because it was. That was a really high level, really competitive fight. But it was either A, nah, Shakur is going to destroy him, or B, oh, Oshaki's going to expose Shakur. Oh, look, Shakur's ducking. Oh, look at this or that, right? And it was really, really interesting for me to see that. And that reaction really reminded me of something that else happened in the weekend, and that was over on the hip hop end. And that was, you know, Jay-Z at the Roots picnic, right? Yo, I mean, look, I'm an 80s baby. I grew up in the 90s. You know, Jay-Z was the GOAT for the longest time. He's still in my top three. But I mean, for me, top three is Kendrick, Andre 3000, Jay Z. That's my personal top three. You can debate with your mama, but but you know, Jay Z takes the stage, and oh man, he comes out here. You know, the fro is out. He picked out the locks. I think he actually used. I think it seems like one of Beyonce's products. So great marketing by them for real. But he goes out there wearing all black. He was wearing Fear of God, all Fear of God. There's another double entendre for you. And the way that Jay does it, and he put on a fantastic show. He was on stage for about an hour and a half. But the performance, I mean, he said all the songs that we wanted, right? Yeah, I mean, he goes out there, everything that you wanted him to say. I mean, the B sides, the hits, he did them all. Roots, I mean, come on. If you haven't had an opportunity to go to the Roots picnic, you need at least check it out. I mean, I haven't been able to go to my to this point either, but it's something that I absolutely want to eventually do. But I've seen the performances and it was insane. But what drew headlines is that in the middle of it, he dropped a 2 to 3 minute freestyle, right? And in that freestyle, he goes out there and he addresses a number of individuals. Now, granted, does he say them by name? No, but you know, he alluded to a few people. And then again, you go on social media afterwards, and immediately the internet starts dissecting every single thing that happened, right? Was he talking about Drake? You know, what are the critics that he's responding to? Oh, you know, oh, if they battle, you know, Jay-Z, he's old, he's washed. Why is this 56-year-old out here doing this? Blah, 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 blah. So we have so much contention going on social media, and it was really interesting for me to see, because the observation that I really have is that the performance itself, which was incredible, it was an incredible performance. I watched the whole performance this weekend, and it was amazing. But it became secondary. It became secondary to end of the conversation was you got to pick a side, right? We got to pick a side. Am I on Jay Z's side? Am I on hip hop side? Am I on Drake's side? And honestly, I highlight Drake specifically because I saw more of his stands uh, being louder than the rest of them. Okay. Um, this is one thing that I realized. And the boxing conversation and hip hop conversation actually is truly the same conversation. And the conversation is the stan culture conversation. What is a stan? For those who do not know, Eminem had a song, you know, named Stan a long time ago, which was about an obsessive fan, right? That took things way too far. One of the classic hip hop songs. Salute to Eminem for that. But we've gone far beyond fandom at this point in time, and it is that standum. and standom is more so tribalism. So we've gone past fandom, just skated straight past that. Now we're straight in tribalism, which is really, really insane. And this is what I'll say is this, being a fan is healthy. Community is healthy. Connection is healthy. All of these things are extremely healthy because people naturally want to belong. All of us want to feel like we're a part of something, right? Everybody, I mean, I want to feel like I'm part of something, whether it be the community. Like I train at the boxing gym, and I am a part of that community, right? I have always looked at myself as somebody that is a connoisseur of hip hop, and I am a part of the hip hop community. Obviously, I'm Black and Puerto Rican. I'm a part of those communities, and we find individuals and find things like that that we can, obviously identify with. But the issue starts when, in my mind, appreciation becomes identity, right? When appreciation becomes identity, and that's what's really has been really interesting. When I enjoy Drake becomes, well, I am a Drake fan. And then it goes into, which we're seeing a lot online, is that an attack on Drake is an attack on me as a person. How dare you say this about Drake? Because now you are attacking me specifically. And that is a lot of things that I'm seeing online. We're seeing it constantly, bruh. I put out a tweet recently, or an X post or whatever. I mean, I'm mostly on Threads now because Threads is kind of like, a Black Twitter from back in the day, which I love. But it's like I said a real innocuous comment, not even really talking about Drake, and I had my comments flooded. Well, people are saying that I got, Kendrick's meat in my throat and all kinds of other stuff. Bro, I didn't talk about Drake. I didn't talk about Kendrick. How is this even possible? Right? Like, what is going on? And it's really interesting. But here's the thing: it's not just in music. We're seeing the exact same thing in combat sports. You see it with Conor McGregor and Conor McGregor stands. You see it with Tank Davis and Tank Davis fans. I mean, look, yeah, I'm a fan of Shakur, obviously, but and I think he's one of the best in the world. But I've seen it with people who are fans of Shakur. I've seen it with Manny Pacquiao and his stable of fans as well. So we're seeing it across the board, especially again in combat sports as well as more so I say that than other sports, because combat sports, like, hip hop, is more so an individual thing. It's one person, right? Basketball teams, obviously, it's a team of individuals. People still have standom and fandom of that, but there's more of a correlation with with hip hop and combat sports, and it's interesting because people have always said it. Hip hop is a contact sport. Hip hop is a combat sport, especially when we're talking about battling and rap battles and things of that nature, right? Um, the internet honestly has turned fans into PR departments for their specific team or athlete or whomever it may be. All right. So this is what I think. And I really believe that what's really happening is ego attachment, right? I'm gonna say that again. What I believe is actually happening is ego attachment. Um, the ego loves labels. The ego loves teams. The ego loves being right. The ego loves having an enemy. You are the ops. If you don't like what I like, you're the ops, right? And that's something that people attach to. When our ego attaches itself to artists, athletes, or an ideology, we stop listening. And that's one thing that I've really noticed, that people aren't listening anymore. We're not appreciating anymore. We're not seeing the same amount of appreciation that we've seen. We're not appreciating the art. We're not appreciating greatness. And when that happens, we start defending. We start defending as opposed to appreciating. Community versus tribalism. Okay. Community says we all love boxing. We all love hip hop. And when those things happen, is that we're not obviously getting the exact same, things out of it. So when we're seeing those things, oh, hold up for 1 second. I done lost my notes for a second. Let me get that back. All right, here we go. It's a lot to talk about, man. I got to make sure my notes are on point. Uh, all right. All right. Um, so tribalism, community versus tribalism. Community says we all love boxing, we all love hip hop. Um, we're all here because we're passionate for something specifically. Tribalism says though, and that's community specifically. Like I love these things. Tribalism says, yo, my side has to win, your side has to lose. There is no middle ground, there is no nuance. And that's one of the things that I'm realizing, that I'm seeing more and more when you're online and when you're seeing these things, that there's zero nuance anymore. Nobody's sitting there saying, like, again, prime example with the Kendrick and Drake beef is like, look, I can sit here and appreciate both of these guys' music, right? Kendrick, for me specifically, makes music that I can identify with more. I like the artistry of it more, but the pop music and the dancey music and the hits that Drake has. Look, man, I when my lady throws some of those things on, I enjoy it as well, and especially some of his older things. So it's like, why can't we sit here and just appreciate the artistry? It doesn't have to be one or the other, right? It's one of those things that's really interesting. On like the oneness point, and I think again, people talk about like oneness and we're all one. One thing that I've really been reflecting on lately is that we're all actually kind of looking for the exact same thing. We're looking for connection. We're looking for inspiration. Um, we're looking for meaning. We're looking for shared experiences, right? One thing that I've noticed, man, is that the irony is that the very thing meant to bring us together is often the things that we use to divide ourselves. I mean, music is something that is supposed to bring us together. Sports are things that's supposed to bring us together. I mean, that is the point of them. We sit there, we go out there, we can vibe out together, whether it be music. Like I was just looking at, and again, I've talked about him recently. Action Bronson had this he had a performance at Cat's Deli, and it is a small intimate space, and people were just vibing out. You can see it, the live instrumentation was going, and people were just having this incredible shared experience. On the same time, when you're at a game, yo, look, I was able to sit there and watch this past weekend, San Antonio Spurs beat OKC Thunder. And I know a lot of people right now aren't really fucking with the Thunder. So it was a shared experience with all of us sitting here watching, whether it be hate watching or not, but we were all watching the games and we were enjoying it. When you're sitting here with your homies and you have a little kickback at the crib. Again, I did that this weekend. I was with some friends of ours, and we were just sitting there, drinking wine, listening to some music, having conversation. These things, music and sports, bring us together. And that is one of those things that's supposed to happen, right? um the older I get, the less interested I realize I've been in choosing sides. I don't really care to choose sides, and that's why even when I'm talking about fights and things of that nature, and that's one thing, again, talking about the San Antonio Spurs versus the New York Knicks in the championship, like I'm really looking forward to the NBA Finals because I don't need to root for a side. I am just going to sit there and say, like, man, I just want the best team to win. And I think that this is going to be a magical series. I'm going to really enjoy watching two really quality teams compete. And it's again, I don't need to, you know, disparage somebody or have a side in order for me to sit there and really enjoy what I'm watching. I don't have to tear somebody down to celebrate somebody else. You don't have to hate somebody to love another. That's just it's nonsensical when you really think about it. You don't have to make fandom your identity. Okay, it's one of those things that it's interesting, right? Uh, the more I look at it again, whether it be Oshaki Foster, putting on championship performance, whether it be Shakur chasing greatness, whether it be Jay-Z performing at the highest level, whether it be Drake versus Kid, whatever the case may be. Again, we can sit here and appreciate all of these things without actually tearing anybody down or associate to our identity. Look, man, one thing I'll say, one of my final thoughts before I get out of here, and thank you guys for listening. Do me a favor, please like, share, and subscribe to our new channel, Fights and Culture with Serg. I've seen a lot of people actually commenting and liking so far and subscribing. I really, really appreciate you guys continue doing so. But remember this, man. Be passionate. That it's important. We must be passionate. As humans, man. That is our life source, right? That is our vibrational energy. Let's go out there and be passionate, be informed, be a fan, enjoy things. But don't let your ego turn community into division. I know it's something that we're really seeing nowadays, but let's not do that again. Don't let your ego turn community into division. Because at the end of the day, we're all participating in the exact same experience. That's really what it boils down to, guys. We're all participating in the exact same experience. And here's the thing. When I look at it, was Oshaki Foster right to call Shakur? Yeah, absolutely. Was Jay-Z talking about Drake? Yeah, he was. Has stan culture gone too far? Absolutely. I mean, Joe, if you have not gone out there and seen, like, listen to it, and again, some of y'all younger, listen to Eminem Stan, listen to it because it truly shows what not only is happening with obviously these topics that I'm talking about, but also even politics. We're seeing this as well. Um, and lastly, is fandom becoming tribalism? It absolutely is, and this is something that we have to address moving forward. So, look, man, I really appreciate you guys. Like, share, and subscribe to this channel, Fights and Culture with Serg. I'm your host, Serg Vicente. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching. And hey, we'll see you next time right here on the show. Have a great day. Peace.